Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about these new ND filters and why you need them. Let's go! As I said in the intro, I got some new ND filters for my drone, for the new drone, for the Beale RC Cinelog 25. Now I already do have some for the Avata helicopter going over. Wish it would do one. Not ideal, but these ones are specific Beale RC ones. I don't know whether they are branded by somebody else or whether they've made their own. Probably made their own. But inside we have a UV filter, a circular polarizer, ND8, ND16, ND32 and ND64. This is specifically the O3 ND filter set, not the Air 3. I kept on saying it in my previous video. I got so annoyed when I was editing it, going through there, of me calling it the Air 3 unit. What is in the box? Well, I haven't actually opened it yet, but I shall open it right now for you. It's going to have annoying plastic on it that gets everywhere. Put that in my drone bag. It's going to really annoy me. So inside, hopefully it's got like a little carry case or something like my other filters. Oh, yep. Broke the box, good. So, let's get rid of the box. Cool little case. And inside it looks like, I'll show you the case first. Can you see that? Nice little case with a cloth. Ugh, I fall off my chair. So it's got a cloth that comes in there. Probably like a little, literally a lens cloth, but like a microfiber. Well, not really microfiber, but you know what I mean. Prescription glasses thing, which, talking about sunglasses, I'll talk about that in a sec. So we have beauty. Straight off the bat though, annoyingly, it doesn't actually say which one's which, unless you actually get the filter out. You're not really going to know which one's which unless I keep them in order. So we've got, yeah, see, they're not even in the right order. Good times. UV here, polarizer, ND64. I think this one was the 32, 16 and the 8. Now, if you remember, in previous videos I've mentioned that I don't have an ND16 anymore because that came off in a crashed video. I do have my Freewell NDs for the Avata, and it doesn't say it on these either, which is annoying. It doesn't say which is which filter, but as you open it, it's a lot easier to see which one's which. So I don't have an ND16 for this one, which is annoying. These are for the Avata, and I tried to put it on to the Beale RC in a previous video, and it worked, but it was tight, and it was nails to get off when I tried to take it off earlier. I'd already bought the Beale RC ones at the same time anyway, just trying to separate them, make sure it's specifically for this one and not necessarily for the Avata, although supposedly it's the same camera. Well, not supposedly, it is the same camera. Now, that's enough waffle. Why do you need ND filters? So ND means neutral density. Now what that basically means is you're putting a pair of sunglasses on the lens, over the lens, to restrict the amount of light hitting the sensor basically. Now why would you want to do that? You would pretty much use this for video. You can use it for stills. If you're obviously not for drone, this is pretty much drone channel now, but by trade I'm a photographer, and you would you could use ND filters for long exposures and some forms of flash photography as well, so that you don't have to go into high-speed sync. That's another video. This is for drone stuff. So why would you want to use it? Why do you want to restrict the amount of light going into your lens? So I've got the specs for the 03 unit. I'll put that up on screen somewhere here at the moment. And as you can see, it is a fixed aperture of 2.8. This particular lens is an f1.4. The lens that I've got over here that I'm going to have to bend down to look at, that's 2.8. And that one has an ND filter already on there. And this one has a slightly different ND filter, but they're all neutral density filter. Now the reason why you'd have a neutral density filter, you're trying to keep your shutter speed at the 180 degree raw. I don't want to get too technical into it, but basically if you are shooting 25 frames a second in the UK, your shutter speed needs to be double, so 50 frames a second, sorry, 1/50th of a second. If you're shooting slow motion, so if you're in the US and you're shooting 120 frames a second, or if you're over here shooting 100 frames a second, you would need 240, so 1/240 shutter speed, or 1/200th of a shutter speed relative. So every time you choose your frame rate, so it's 25 frames a second, 50 frames a second, or 100 frames a second, your shutter speed needs to be double to retain natural motion blur. So as you can see at the moment, when I move my hands, that's creating natural motion blur. If I change the exposure with this, let me change it on here. So let me put it to, let me change the shutter speed first. So get back out of that, change the shutter speed to 1/500th, and then adjust my ND filter so that it's back again. I'll probably have to adjust the ISO whilst I'm here. So now I'm at, make sure it gets back in focus. Now I'm at 1/500th of a second, so I'm the same exposure, but when I do this, if you compare it, it's going to be, it should anyway, look a lot more choppier. There's another way you can do it to change the exposure that you'd like. Let's say you want to keep your motion blur to 50th, because I'm shooting 25 frames a second at the moment. Let's put the aperture to try and go back. So let's take off the ND. Let's just put the, just for demonstration purposes, let's put the ISO, well, shooting C-Log anyway, so ISO 800. And let's put the aperture to try and sort it back out. F9, should we say, F10. So as you can see, it's kind of the same exposure now. I've kept the motion blur that I'd like. My ISO is correct, so it's ISO 800 because I'm shooting C-Log on a Canon at the moment. That's what it has to be to get the most dynamic range either side. But, pardon me, I've put it to F10. As you can see in the background is all in focus. If that's what you want and you can't afford a neutral density filter, ND filter just yet, then happy days, ramp it up to F10. But the drone, like I said earlier, is a fixed aperture of 2.8. So what does that mean? Let's put it to 2.8. So let's say in the drone we have it to 2.8. As you can see, it is blown out, but I want to keep the ISO correct. I want to keep the shutter speed correct. So I would add neutral density on. And now we're back to the settings that I had earlier. I have shutter speed that I want with motion blur. Hopefully I'm in focus anyway. I have the background blurred out, hopefully, and the ISO is correct. That is why you would have a neutral density. Now with drones, like I said, this is a f2.8 fixed aperture, so you can't change the aperture, but you can change the ISO and you can change the frame rate. I usually shoot 4K 50. So 4K 50, and the reason why I do that is because annoyingly it only shoots 4K 30 is the lowest. It doesn't go down to 4K. Let me get this right. So it shoots 4K 50 and it shoots 4K 30. 4K 30 is the lowest it will do. Now I'd prefer 4K 25, but it doesn't do it. But 4K 50 fits onto a 4K 25 timeline, so that's the lowest that I would put it on. I'm thinking about this, and with the Avata, if I put it on here, the Avata, I am thinking about shooting 4K 30, because in recent months I've found that for whatever reason 30 frames a second is what Instagram works off of. I know it's not what YouTube works off of, but I don't know. Got to play the ball and try and get the best quality for the platform. So we'll see. We shall see. And so that is the neutral density filters anyway. Now what else did I say that were in here? So you have a UV filter. I've never really seen UV filters actually do much, to be honest, in the years that I've done photography and videography. The main reason why I would put a UV filter on is if you wanted to protect your lens. That's the biggest thing, because UV filters are really cheap. So if you're a videographer or photographer, stick a UV filter on there. You're way better off if you fell over or you're filming something and you get a stone chip. It's way easier to replace a £10 UV filter than it is a £2,000 lens like this or like that over there. That's the only real reason you'd put a UV filter on there. Now, unless I'm going to shoot in the rain, I'm pretty much, which is not going to happen, I'm pretty much always going to be shooting in a bright, sunny day. So I wouldn't have a UV filter on there. It'd be protected with an ND. Now, also we had circular polarizer. There it is. It just says PL on there, so polarizer. Probably can't see that on there. The tiny little things. So circular polarizer, in normal photography you would use it to cut the reflection on water, cut the reflection on glass. So car photography, you can make the car paint more vibrant by cutting the reflections, and the windscreen as well. So make sure you can see through, see the driver, that sort of stuff, a bit more stylistic. If you're doing buildings and stuff like that, then you would use this to cut the glare and pronounce the tone of architecture, for example. In relation to drones, you would use a CPL filter or a circular polarizing filter to cut the glare on water, like I said, glass, and also for whatever reason, it's because it basically messes with the wavelengths of light. It will enhance greens and blues. So I'm going to probably test it out at some point over the next few weeks and see if it actually makes any difference. It's not really the best of day to do it today, just because of where I'm sat. I'm next door to my house, basically. I live that way, and we don't have any neighbours now, so I'm in their old garden. But yeah, anyway, enough waffle. That pretty much concludes ND filters, of why I have it, and when and where you would want to use it. So let me know in the comments below if you have any more questions, any technical questions, doesn't matter. I'm more than happy to ask technical questions. And if you're filming although this is a drone channel, but by trade I'm a photographer and videographer professionally. If you have any questions reference to make your videos look a bit better, or you have any questions about the camera that you're actually filming on, how to improve, or just any technical questions, feel free to comment below. It doesn't have to be drone related, but if you have any questions about these, then cool beans. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's not going to be an affiliate link because for whatever reason I was chinned off of my affiliate link program, so I don't have affiliate links anymore. But I need to get that sorted so I can make a little bit of money and try to improve this channel. But here we go. This is the Get Past C filter. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, share. I shall catch you in the next one.